Hey folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Sid Meier's Civilization 4. We are playing as Asoka of India, and we have just started things out. We're 22 turns into the game. We have not yet settled our first city, but at the end of the last episode, I said I was going to do some dot mapping, and indeed, I have done so. I'm not going to claim that this is necessarily the most optimal layout, but I think it's fairly okay for our plots and plans over here. Over here is almost certainly where we're going to settle our first city. It's on flat land, and it's certainly approaching towards the Incas, which can be a little bit scary. We would have a little bit of natural defense from the river, not too much, but it does give us some decent terrain, right? We've got the rice, which will be irrigated from the lake over here, which is going to be good. We can also probably farm these spots along the river so that they will turn into a 2 food, 1 production tile, so at least they'll feed themselves. And there's going to be a decent sort of baseline of some amount of production, which won't be bad, and it gets us the gold mine in the not too distant future. I was very torn about what to do over here. I don't really love this spot, but it's going to be a good idea to get something on the coast so we can build some ships and maybe some of the coastal wonders or something like that. So I think that's going to be required. And then we can stick a city kind of in between on a nice hills plain, which is going to be good. It can reach the river tiles here for some farming as well for food. Plus it's going to have the sheep, which is going to be all right. If we can grab this spot, it's going to be amazing because again, along a river, we've got ourselves another gold mine. We've got the food from the cattle, which is great. I mean, we could go 1 tile south and also consider picking up the rice. And that's an option, but I don't know. I don't think this city is likely to be something we can do with the Incas right over here, but it's a potential place for later. This spot here doesn't seem great, but it's not too bad. The desert hill is kind of crap because it's only 1 production, but when we put our city here, then that doesn't actually matter. And then all it's got is, it still has a smattering of desert tiles, but it can get a little bit of fresh water here for some farming. It's got the cattle as well. I mean, we've got an oasis here, which is also providing some fresh water, including to the city itself. Can get some more marble. It's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And then we can put a city here that's going to be a good spot for like the Mao statues. I don't know how you pronounce it, but over there it can it'll share some tiles with Delhi, but that's going to be okay. And in fact, it might be quite nice to give these tiles to this city early on, so that it can get the production, or the food and a little bit of production. And then once it's got the statues and a lighthouse down, then it's going to be great just running all these ocean tiles, and these tiles can go back to Delhi. And I think we're going to be all right. So without further ado, I think we will continue. Lots of lions and bears, oh my, roaming around. Now, I don't love that our warrior is injured here as we do this. We did lose the unit. That's actually really not good. Oh, that's where Korea is. Okay. That's actually rather painful and annoying. I think I might end up putting this scout on auto explore at this point, just so I don't have to worry about babysitting him. So we're gonna go and do that. He might die to an animal, but that's less important. Keeping that warrior alive actually would have been pretty important. We're gonna go with plan warrior into settler here.
It is entirely seemly for a young man killed in battle to lie mangled by the bronze spear.
We got this from a goodie hut.
In his death, all things appear fair.
Our auto exploring scout just got this and popped bronze working forge, which is amazing because it's a great great tech. It will unlock the slavery civic, which we'll go right now because there's no reason not to at this stage in the game. We're going to go from tribalism to slavery, increase the upkeep, but the upkeep is still 0 because we only have the 1 city, so it's fine. And then, yeah, we can start spending population to boost our production. It also reveals copper. Does it change our dot mapping? It does not because we just don't have any copper. Well, the Incas do. That's not entirely comforting. Okay. I don't know if we mine or farm first. We still don't have the animal husbandry. I think I'll mine first. All right, you stay here. I think for safety, I'm going to get a second warrior before the settler, which is very paranoid. But we'll go to size 4, and that's going to be okay. I guess I still want you to move out over here and just prevent barbarians from spawning in this area. I'm going to put you on this hill. Because barbarians can't spawn where you have vision. So you can rush right now, but I'm not going to yet. We'll mine that. I've gotten 2 free technologies from goodie huts, which is kind of a big deal.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So this also reveals horses. And now, getting a granary would be quite good. And it's on the way to writing. What I think we do is we go pottery, priesthood, writing. Because while we're researching writing, we can be building the oracle. And then we can slingshot into Code of Laws and found a second religion. Okay, fortify over there. And grow to size 4. We're going to finish the warrior, and then when we start working the settler, we will be using our first hop rush. I'll build this. This is closer. Although I think the pig pasture would actually do better things for us, but that's going to be okay. The wheel is done.
Push your shoulder through the
We
wheel.
might have to rely on the warrior or the chariot here to be able to combat the axemen that might be coming out of the Incas. They don't usually build a lot of chariots, but they do have double strength against axemen and do destroy them. Okay, Incas just adopted slavery, so they just got to they just got the bronze working as well. Working these 4 tiles, which is great. The pigs aren't improved yet, but we're about to do that. And yeah, our commerce is going great. So our tech rate is going to be really good. We're going to want to connect everything up with roads, because what will happen is from the pigs and the wheat, it'll be extra health. And from the wine, once we do get a vineyard up, which is going to require monarchy technology, and once we get a road over here, that's going to be extra luxuries for some happiness. Although actually, we've got gold as luxury because it's along the river. It's auto coming over here, which is good. Not that we need extra happiness currently. Okay, there we go. We can sacrifice 2 units of population for the settler, which I'm going to do. Our pop should grow back fairly quickly. Start working on that. Thank you. I'm going to put a warrior back in the queue here, because I'm going to take this warrior and this unit and over there. So the game's actually suggesting settling here, which, no, strongly disagree. Okay, rebuild the warrior. Oh, Maya's here. Okay, still none of these guys have founded a religion, so Buddhism must be on the other continent. It would be great if I could also grab Judaism from monotheism, because between that and taking Confucianism, we would have a monopoly on all the religions over here and make sure that we could stay unified as one solid group. We might consider, as if the Incas don't kind of forward settle me and I'm not feeling pressured for space, we actually might go hardcore pacifist in the game. I know it's a meme for us, but yeah, in terms of what victory condition to pursue, it's too early to decide at this point. If we can snag a few early wonders, we can consider it cultural, especially if you have multiple religions. For a cultural victory, you really want the sweet spot, I think, if I remember the math correctly, is you want 6 cities and 3 religions, because that will allow you to stack a bunch of the, I can't remember the 3rd tier of religious buildings are. Shrine, Temple, Academy? Anyway, they give plus 50% culture. So then you can, you can build, there's a ratio. You need, is it 6 cities to be able to build? I think it's 3 cities of a religion to be able to build one of the academies. Maybe it's 2. Unless I need 9 cities. Because the thing is, you need 3 cities to reach legendary quality. And so you want the 3 cities that you're focusing the culture on, you want them all to have, well, as many academies as possible. Maybe with 6 cities, you can have 2 academies in each. With your 3 religions, there might be some sort of math going on there. That might be what was going on with it. I just have that memory in my head of like 6 cities, 3 religions gives you a sweet setup for a cultural victory. That might be fun. Space stuff's always excellent. We could even consider diplomatic. And yeah, if we're not going military, I mean, we're not going to go for a domination or conquest victory, but you know, you keep those in your back pocket. You never know. I will want more warriors, but I'm actually wondering about letting the city grow by building something else first. We could put some time into producing something else. I don't know about that. I think we're going to pump another warrior here. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to start parking them in places where we're going to want cities. This is going to walk through the forest the entire way, which is nice and protected, which I like. And you over here, you're going to move to actually sit on this hill. That's going to be okay. A little bit exposed on the way, but I think that's going to be fine.
Hath not the potter power over the clay to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?
So pottery is great for a couple of different reasons. It gives you access to the granary building, which means after a city grows, you still have 50% of its food, which means it can keep growing faster. This is especially important if you are using slavery aggressively to constantly sacrifice population. It also gives you the ability to build cottages, which are improvements on tiles that give you extra commerce, which translates to extra money or extra science in practice, or some combination of the two, which is really powerful. There's 2 different ways to build an economy in this game. There's the cottage economy, which is the most straightforward and also the one that scales most in the late game. There's also a specialist economy, which is trickier, more advanced, but considerably more powerful in the early to mid game. So we'll see what we can do. I suspect we'll probably be looking towards a cottage economy on this one, especially since we have a fair amount of luxuries. So we should be able to grow our cities big. Specialist economy doesn't grow the same way because you're using a lot of your population as specialists instead of anything else. All right, so the pigs are hooked up. I think what you're going to do is you're going to start working a little bit of a road here. It's not connected to Delhi yet, but we're going to make moves towards settling the city. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, you've grown to size 3. I would very much like one more settler here before we start doing wonder stuff. So I think that's going to be the idea. I'm going to control-click the settler to put it at the top of the queue. And yeah, I'm going to settle here. And we'll get Bombay going, and that's going to be great. Now, we are not a creative civ, so we don't get free culture production. So if we want the borders to expand to pick up the gold, we're going to need some sort of source of culture, which could be the monument, or once we get writing, could be the library. I think we'll go and start the monument right away. The other thing is by having culture in the city, it'll also get a defensive boost, which is what this plus 40% is above Delhi. Just increases the defensive strength of units that are parked inside those. And that's going to be pretty important because this is going to represent probably our front line. I mean, ideally we get this city here, in which case this is probably the front line against the Incas. We'll see. So I'm just going to fortify up over here in a nice defensive location, hills and forest. So we've got a 75% defense bonus. I think it's 25 from the hill and 50 from the forest. That's really quite good, even though that is a pretty low level unit. Now you'll see we are only producing 80% of our commerce is now going towards science instead of 100%. And the reason for that is if we run at 100%, we have a cash deficit. So the game, when you run out of money, will automatically lower it to make sure to balance your books. As we build another city, the amount of money we're going to make is going to go every lower, because the way it works is every single one of your cities has a certain maintenance. The maintenance value of a city is based on the distance of this city from the palace, but also the total number of cities. So these maintenance costs kind of go up exponentially because the maintenance cost of each city goes up as you build more cities. So yeah, you get that kind of exponential thing. And that's where things like the courthouses come into play because they drop the maintenance in half, therefore saving you a ton of cash. But we do want to expand a little bit more. If we weren't going for a wonder, I'd probably be looking to go to 4, maybe even 5 cities. Now, the nice thing is, assuming it works out, the wonder, the oracle that we're going to make here, is going to give us a slingshot to Code of Laws, which will give us the ability to build courthouses, which will save us maintenance, which means we'll be able to do a very big expansion on a second step here. Okay. Oh yeah, I still need to go and improve that. Which actually, now that I think about it, is where I should have been sending.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
We'll need a road connection. We could save on it because we actually, if the road reaches the river, it's going to be fine. But we would like these 2 cities connected so they can start doing some intercity trade, which will be good for our finances. We will be doing another pop rush once we get the opportunity here. Okay, defending ourselves. You're going to stay parked right there, my friend. You're still alive and ticking, huh? Now, for the scout promotions, I often like to give them either the hill or the forest one because obviously it's good for the defenses in those locations, but the second level gives them a bonus movement across those things. Or we could go with a generic combat promotion, but it's not going to mean much for them. I'm going to go for hills, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm actually going to leave you right here. Fortify until healed. I think if I put you on auto explore, you might do that. Fortify until healed by default as well, but Call has founded. Okay. So far, no one's moved towards us, which is great. Even though there's fog of war over there, we would see if they founded a city. Judaism has founded in distant land. We'll see if... because I think this will say that even if we know the person, but if we haven't seen the city, I don't think it'll tell us. We'll see if next turn someone converts. Okay, so we're going to hurry the settler. So cost us population also generates unhappiness, but we got plenty of space for that. Most cultured civilization in the world. We are the second. Oh, there we go. The Mayans have converted. Now, this... we don't know where the Mayans are. I think this is... oh, this is Mayan here. Oh, it's not Korean territory. So, what would be kind of fun... oh, that's Korean. Okay, the Mayans are very far away, which means not much early conflict. There might be a bit of a race to see about converting these two. Again, if they don't become Hindu, then they might be a good military target. If they do, then we can really cultivate that friendship. Do I want to go and YOLO to all the way over here? It's far from my capital, which means it's harder to reinforce, but it's such a good spot. I think I do. I'm going to send it unescorted because we do have vision everywhere along the way. So I think we're going to be fine there. Got a warrior here, which I'll probably leave parked in Delhi for now. Then I'm going to want a granary so that it can keep growing. I know I can start working on our oracle right now. We do have to start. Yeah, no, hold on. I'll get beaten to it and then it'll be frustrating. I'm going to start with that. We don't have the double production speed yet, but that'll have to do, and we'll get it soon enough. Again, the marble doesn't have to be within our borders for us to get the benefit for the increased speed. Well, it has to be within our borders. It doesn't have to be in the fat cross of a city. It doesn't have to be a workable tile. It just has to be improved and within our actual border. Okay.
True glory consists in doing what deserves.
Now, we're not going to build the library right away,
in
which,
writing
if we weren't going for the
deserves to be
oracle, we
read.
probably would. Let me click on... Honestly, archery, actually. We need some defensive tech. I would be. If we weren't building the oracle, I would be building the library right now for a couple of different reasons. The fact that it generates 25% extra research isn't actually that meaningful in a sense, because it sort of depends on where economy slider is. And as we can spend less and less on our science, which is going to be the case while we do rapid expansion. We're going to start running out of money, so we won't be spending our commerce in the science, which means the library isn't going to be benefiting in that way. However, one of the big things that it does in the very early game is give you the ability to turn two citizens into scientists. And those science specialists, in addition to giving us just raw science, which is great even if we don't have the science slider up, because it's just raw direct science, it also generates great people points that can spawn great scientists, and that's something we're going to want really early on. However, the oracle is going to come first. All right, you build yourself a quarry. I don't like that I only have one worker at this point, but so be it. You are going to settle there. Here we've got DJ. I'm going to go for the granary first. You don't need the border expansion with quite the same severity, and by having the granary first, then we can... I mean, we want it defensively still, but we can have you grow. I do need some workers, and I guess I could consider just... Maybe I go worker first. You know what? Same here. Although I could let you grow first. You're going to grow in 3 turns? Okay, wait until you grow, and then we'll start a worker build over here. Because, yeah, we need some. My general kind of rule of thumb, scout, kill the wolf, nice. My general rule of thumb is about 1.5 workers per city for good production levels for the entire game. Okay, Delhi's going to grow again, which is fine. Bombay can hurry the monument. Let's do that then. And then, yeah, I'll just queue up the worker afterwards. So we're going to want to do that as often as possible. We want to convert population growth into production.
Rabbits, you will lose them both.
So this unlocks the spearman if we have copper iron, which we currently don't. Now, we might have iron, and researching iron working might be nice, but we don't need it right away. Camp improvement, I think we might have an elephant, yeah, right over here that we can build the camp on, which is going to be okay, giving us access to ivory. But the big thing is, yeah, we'll get to archery. We'll get some archers to defend our cities. And probably one chariot in each city as well, or at least the border cities. Okay, Oracle continues to develop here. We'll put them production focus, but they're still going to work these just because it's weighted so well in our favor. And we're not at a growth cap or anything like that. So that's okay. At some point, we will be able to hurry, but it's very expensive to hurry wonders. So it'll probably only shave 1 or 2 turns off at like a cost of like 3 pops, but it's probably going to be worth it. The marble just finished. You can see the production time in the Oracle just, yeah, dropped in half. It must have gone from 20 turns to 10. I wasn't like literally looking in the moment, but I think it was still like 21 or 22 turns last turn. So getting this marble is going to be huge. And yeah, we will probably look into building the Great Library as well with that. So now that you're free from this task, and right now every tile in Delhi that Delhi is working is improved. Although when it grows, which it's about to do, it's going to be working in an unimproved tile. And really what I think I want to do is I want to chop some trees, because if we chop trees, we can send a production boost to the capital. And normally with these wonder building, we would want to pre-chop and do some things like
Do
that.
not throw the arrow, which will return against you.
All right, archery done. Doesn't even lead to another tech, but is highly worthwhile. So we know Judaism is already gone, so there's no reason for us to worry about rushing this tech. Fishing and sailing isn't going to help us right this moment. Alphabet can be quite useful for starting some tech trade. I don't know if we're in a position for it, but we could trade Code of Laws later and backfill a bunch of stuff. I tend to go iron working and hope we get iron, because then we can improve it for a production boost, and then at least we'll know we have iron for certain units. The greedy part of me wants to just rush to literature and be ready to build the Great Library, but I don't think we'll get beaten to it in the same way as some of these others. So I actually kind of like the idea of iron working, which can boost our production, but also improve our security a little bit. What we're going to do here, So normally, see, we're working this tile. So normally what I'd want to do is I'd want to do this, which is the build a mine. This will remove the forest and build the mine, but it does it back to back. So chopping on this forest takes 3 turns. Presumably building the mine takes 4 turns. And if I chop first, it's going to chop and then 3 turns. It'll give me the production to Delhi, but then this tile will become slightly less productive because it doesn't have any forest anymore. By doing the mine here, it'll do the chop and mine as one action, and the forest won't actually go and disappear until the mine appears. So normally it's quite a bit better. In this case, it doesn't really matter so much because this production, they'll just move to this tile instead and get exactly the same. And the Oracle's going to finish in 7 turns anyway, so doing the mine chop isn't going to accelerate it. So I'm just going to do the direct chop. It'll chop in 3 turns, which means it'll still benefit the Oracle, and might line up nicely for us doing a pop sack as well to rush it, just to make sure we don't lose. Okay, so one of the things I've got running with the better bug mod, which we can access a bunch of options for it over here, is I have it automatically stop the chop the turn before it would actually cut it down. So that's something we'll see over here. It automatically stopped this with 1 turn left, which is something you can do manually. If you babysit your workers, you can stop the chop with 1 turn left. The idea is you pre-chop everything. You get everything to be 1 turn away from finishing, and then you just leave it like that until you want to use it for usually a wonder or a settler. Those are kind of high priority things to finish with a chop. In this case, I'm building a wonder, so I want to go ahead and finish this immediately. So we've done that. Oracle is now 2 turns away, and yeah, we're going to go and sack 2 population to make sure it finishes a little bit faster. That's going to be fine. So unless I've screwed up, I hope I haven't, we should have, like, I should be able to click, I should have checked this. Yeah, I can click on Code of Laws and research it right now without queuing anything up, right? Whereas if I do this, we can see it queues up to 4 things. Code of Laws can be researched directly, which means I got all the prereqs, which is great. I'm going to keep working on iron working, and then this is about to finish. And there we go, we got a free tech. Now we can also take monarchy, which is very valuable because, well, it gives us the ability to build a winery, which we have here, but more valuably is the fact that it gives you the hereditary rule civic, which lets units, stations, and cities give +1 happiness each, which lets your cities grow quite a bit bigger. But we don't need that right now, and the Code of Law is going to be more valuable for a variety of reasons. It's more expensive tech, and it gives the first person to discover Confucianism. Now, this will not spawn in Delhi. The way that it works is I think it prioritizes the biggest city that doesn't have a religion to be the holy site. It's not the smallest, newest city, is it? I don't think so. Go for a granary next.
To bring about the rule of righteousness in the land so that the strong should not harm the weak.
Hang on. Maybe it is the smallest city. Yeah, no, it did spawn in VJ. Okay. Which actually isn't so bad because, I was going to say because it's going to generate culture. No, because it's not our official religion, it doesn't generate culture over here. If we went back to having no state religion, then both cities, and we could. It's kind of interesting to consider. Because we're spiritualists, we have no cost to swapping a religion. Right now, the fact that Hinduism is in Delhi and in Bombay is giving them +1 happiness each. But that's it. And then in Delhi itself, it's also got the +5 culture from being the holy city. If I go and went to neo state religion, which normally I might not want because there would be a turn of anarchy, but we're spiritualists, so we can abuse this. We run this for a bit. Now we take a look at VJ. It's getting 5 culture over here because it's the holy city of Confucianism. That was 0 previously. So we can use this to grow the borders of VJ, have it expand out, and then we can go back to a state religion so that we get the happiness boost afterwards. Now, here's the other thing. The 3 early religions in the game, which is Buddhism, Hinduism, and Judaism, they're early. You just get the religion, that's it. The next 4 religions after that, it's not based on order. It's literally these 3 just work that way, and the other 4, I think there's another 4. The other 4, the other 3. When they show up, they do spawn with a missionary. Because it's going to help you spread the religion and sort of catch up. So over here, we've got a Confucian missionary. So I'm going to go ahead and spread that to Delhi immediately. Spreading a religion in a city that has 0 or 1 religion, I believe, is always guaranteed to work. After that, there starts to be a failure, failure rate, so you might have to send more than 1 missionary to get the job done. I may as well mine this while I'm here, I guess. Or do I want to start moving down here and improving these? They're getting their workers soon. I think I'm just going to stick around Delhi. And, we might as well mine this tile. That way, when Delhi grows back up to 5, it'll have a decent tile to work with the mine there. So that's going to be okay. Right now, our break-even point money-wise is to be at 70%. So no, we'll go ahead and do that. That's going to be fine. One thing we could do is we could drop our science rate down to 0, just bank some money, and then just keep checking, like, at what point can I run at 100% and afford to do it without running low? And that sort of going back and forth isn't a bad idea, because we might get some random events that require us to have some cash to deal with it. So by going and alternating between, say, 0 and 100%, rather than running 50% all the time and just breaking even, you will often have money in the bank ready to deal with some random event, but then it doesn't really slow down your research. I think in this case, well, since I don't have anything that's giving me a percentage boost to my research rate, like I don't have any libraries, I think maybe it's fine to do this. In fact, especially if I'm about to build a library, I may as well run 0 now, wait until we get the library, and then run 100% and run a cash deficit. The other thing to note is, since we've got an oracle over here, as far as I know, every wonder does generate great people points. The oracle is generating 2 great people points per turn, and they're great profit tag. We have a meter over here. See, it goes to 100. When this fills up, it's going to spawn a great person. The type of great person that gets spawned depends on the source of the great person points. Right now, the only source of great person points we have is the oracle, which is flagged as great profit, which means we've got a 100% chance that it'll get a great profit. If we build a library here and then we start to run science specialists, they will also generate great people points, and they all get added together in terms of when the great person spawns, but they would be contributing great science points. And then it breaks down, there becomes a percentage chance based on where the sources are. And it doesn't matter, as far as I know, it doesn't matter how many points the source contributes. It's just the number of sources. So we're going to have 1 source of great profit, and with 2 scientists, we're going to have 2 sources of great scientist points. So assuming we start the meter at 0, it should end up with a 66% chance for great scientist and a 1/3 chance of great profit. We actually would love, at this point, 2 great profits, because what we want to do is we want to use the great profits to build the religious building in our 2 holy sites, which will generate massive amounts of cash. Otherwise, we're really happy with a crap ton of great scientists, which we can use to build science academies or to install in cities as permanent super mega ultra science specialists, which are awesome. All the great people can become permanent great specialists in a city. And we might decide to do that if we get excess great profits, for example. Because after the first 2, there might be less usefulness. We can use it to light bulb tech. We can use it to golden age. We'll see what we decide to do with these things. But anyway, for now, we have no complaints about the fact that we might spawn a great profit over here, because it is a great profit would lead to great profit. If you catch the implied spelling there. Holy cities make lots of money, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so one of the things, and this is again with the Better Bat mod, we get these notifications when someone can rush a city. Otherwise, what we do is we'd click on our cities and sort of just alternate between them and see which ones have these buttons. And I want to hit this button every time it's available right now. Now, every time you do, it generates 10 turns of unhappiness. It generates 1 unhappy face for 10 turns. But then if you already have that going on, what it does is it sort of stacks. It adds an extra 10 turns, and for every 10 turns of that, it's a second unhappy face. So right now, we're getting 2 unhappy faces in Bombay, because we've got this 11 turn counter. Next turn, this will drop to 10, and this will only be 1 unhappy face. So we do have to kind of maybe restrict ourselves based on how unhappy things are, but otherwise we're going to be very eager to do this, because right now, because of our low happiness, like the actual happiness side of things, of 5, Bombay can't grow very big. As soon as we get to a population of 6, Bombay would be cranky anyway, so we may as well sacrifice those populations to accelerate things. So yeah, we generally want to be pretty quick with this, especially once we get the granaries, because they will regrow faster. So we do have a granary in Delhi. Now, Delhi could build the Temple of Artemis, which gives us a free priest specialist, which is handy. More trade route yields, nothing wrong with that. And, just some flat extra bonuses as well. Where it says actual over there, I think that's part of the bug mod as well. That's adding up what you would actually get. So you'd be getting the +8 culture, the +2 great people points, and it would generate a free priest, and the priest is responsible for giving us the hammer, the money, and some extra great people points over here. So, I mean, that wouldn't be bad. It's 34 turns. Is that what we want to do right now? Well, I do want the library in the capital, because I would like to run the science specialist, because, again, our economy is going to start to drop a little bit. That may be good. The courthouse is also good. It's less of a priority in the capital, because the capital is clearly not far from the palace. It has a distance of 0 from the palace. It doesn't actually have a very high maintenance rate. So we must be spending 0.84 gold in Delhi right now on maintenance because this cuts it in half. So it would still save us money, but is it the end of the world? Maybe not. I think we need the library because I really do want to try to get some specialists popping out, so we'll see. Fast worker is done in Bombay. We're going to go to a granary next. And you're going to come over here, and you are going to go and build that farm, please and thank you. Good. Okay, and yeah, we're going to spread Confucianism over here, which I think is guaranteed to succeed. There we go. Great stuff. Okay. Oh, they've founded a city somewhere over here. We can't... I mean, I could build a cottage on here, but I'll probably wait until we get the winery tech. If we are going to do any more wonders in Delhi, and at the very least, I think after ironworking finishes, I think we are going to go up to literature. We're going to get that great library. I think that's going to be the next thing we do. I'm going to keep saving up money for now until this library is done. So we're going to want to rush some wonders in Delhi. So I am thinking about going around and pre-chopping. At the very least, all these hills, I'm going to want mines instead of forests. The flatland, we're going to have to make some decisions because we could leave the forest there and build lumber mills later on, or we could chop them down for farms and or cottages. And so there's some actual decisions to be made there. But I think here's fine. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do pre-mine. So they're going to spend 6 turns doing this, and then it'll stop automatically, leaving the last turn unfinished so we can just decide when we want to actually consume that. And the idea is to use it to try to, like, burn through the wonder when that opportunity comes up. We do have a barbarian archer over there, which doesn't make me especially comfortable. They do have a strength of 3 and a first strike. Again, our warriors do have a defense. They have a strength of 2 and a plus 25% when defending a city, but that's not any guarantee against an archer, so we are going to need some proper defenses. We're going to build the first pasture here in the cows, which is going to generate food and hammers, which is really good. And yeah, we do have the tech to build archers, and we will indeed be doing that. In fact, part of me is kind of paranoid enough to say, you know what? Let's get an archer. Okay, I'll finish the library here first. Let's get an archer ahead of these granaries, even though the granaries help for growth, and especially with the whipping, but I think I'm going to feel a little bit better if we put some production into this. Warriors kill the barbarian warrior. I think over here. Okay. Oh, this archer might be going over there, which does make me think about retreating this archer. I think I'm going to do that, or retreating this warrior. I'm going to go this way. We're going to retreat it to VJ for now. Okay, so Delhi's just grown and is currently unhappy, right? Partially because of my cruel oppression. Well, we're about to get some more cruel oppression because I'm going to sacrifice 2 population. This is the essence of the beatings will continue until morale improves. But hey, then we're going to get a library that much faster. So we've got this for food. Growth is important. I actually am thinking about building another farm here right away. The terrain around Bombay is a little bit dry, so we definitely are going to make sure to build lots of farms. The ideal thing, so every unit of population consumes 2 food. So in practice, what you want across all the territory of your city is you want it to average to 2 food per tile. Now, some tiles will produce more food, some tiles will produce less, but in theory, if you produce 2 food per tile, you will end up growing your city to the perfect size where it's working all 20... I want to say 21, but let's see, that's 5, 10, 14. I know, and then another 6 is 20. Yeah, there we go, 20 tiles. Yeah, I think it's 21 including the center tile, but you don't need population. So if you can sustain 20 population exactly by growing 40 food exactly, we have to remember the center tile is generating 2 food for free, which is nice. Then you could work every single tile. In practice, it's going to be fuzzier than that until the city grows to maximum size. Then you don't really need all that much food, and you could even, in fact, grow the city beyond size 20 because you can also support specialists. If you have excess food, you can do that. And we should consider how we might specialize some of our cities for commerce versus great people points versus production. And we will have to look at that. But for now, I think it's a no-brainer to add the food here because I think it's going to benefit from it. And then we'll be able to do something like work the mine and still grow the city. Growth is important to maintain. Now, I could go and switch this right now here. We're getting -5 per turn. It's going to take 7 turns to research ironworking, which means we'll lose $35 over the course of that, and we won't go broke on it. But I think I'm still going to wait 1 more turn for the library to finish. We'll just bank more money, and then we'll be able to set all of our research to 100% for a little bit longer while benefiting it more. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Now, what I actually want to do in the capital is I want to send 2 of my population to work as scientists, because we've got 2 of these slots here thanks to the library. Scientists generate 3 science points just flat out. They are not part of the commerce calculation, and they also generate great people points. So 3 points per, which means we're going to get a great person a lot faster. But also, they're going to start generating scientists value to this meter, and again shift the production towards there. Again, 2/3, 66% for scientists, but the Great Prophet already has a head start, so in the end it might end up being 50-50 for this one. Which again, I'm kind of fine either way. I think a great scientist first would actually be better, but I'm definitely going to want some great profits at some point. Now, if I do this, Delhi is still growing because this food tile, these pig are amazing for production. 6 food tile by itself. We got the 2 from the base, so that's 8 total, which is enough to support our population and still have some excess. So we're going to grow soon. So we're going to do that, and when it grows, it's going to do. I think this is the way to go. I'm not as worried because there's not that many threats currently around our capital. We've got vision all the way over here, which means barbarians can't spawn in any of these areas. They could spawn up here, and they could beeline to the capital, but we could, the archer's still being produced, and we could still go and do a hurry if we start to feel threatened. But yeah, I think I like this. We're going to do this, and it is going to give us more tech as well. And now we're running the tech at 100% in addition, so the ironworking is going to theoretically happen that much faster. It didn't change that much because I think we might, when we're not working, we're not working the gold and we're not working this, right? Which is a bunch of commerce, which was going into 100% science. That's interesting. That's why it hasn't really shrunk this time. But we still want to do this because it's still going to generate great people points, even though it's not, at the very moment, benefiting our tech rate. Okay, Delhi could chop through this archer, but I'm not going to right now. It still has tons of unrest from the current whipping, and we actually are happy to let this population grow a little bit for now. So we're going to do that. The cattle, if we go and build a road on here, it will spread its health from the cattle to all the cities. We don't currently need it, so I'm going to delay that a little bit. I'm wondering about building a second food tile. This is another place with a lot of plains as opposed to grassland, and also a lot of hills. So this is going to be a food poor kind of spot, which means we want to farm as many tiles as we can. It's food poor, sort of in quotes, because it still has a pasture here, which is nice. Although, unlike the pigs, which is all food, it's still 4 food, which is great, and 2 hammer, which is, don't get me wrong, obviously wonderful. Arguably better. It depends on the specialization of the city. But yeah, I think a second farm here to make sure that VJ continues to grow very quickly is going to be great. Yeah. And then, yeah, I'll go and stick a unit in there as well. And then we'll do the gold, and then we'll probably start mining these hills. I think that VJ is going to be a very high production city, which is actually very much what we want on the front lines because it's going to be a good spot for us to build our military. And what's almost certainly going to happen is I'm going to start doing some renaming some of these cities. And I'm going to do something like... Oh, I guess I have caps lock on. I'm like, why isn't it capital M when I'm holding shift? So something like this to flag this as a military city. Bombay. Honestly, like military or production is very likely to be the case. Your capital is kind of always a jack of all trades. Delhi is probably going to be fairly well positioned to be a great person farm early on. For a great person farm, what you want is a few very high food producing tiles. Which we've got, because we've got 6 food here, 4 food here, 4 food here. So 3 population working this would generate us 14 food, plus the base tile, 16 food, which means 3 people working the farms can support a population of 8, which means we can have up to 5 people working as specialists over here, which is phenomenal. Again, your capital, I do feel, tends to end up feeling kind of jacks of all trade because of, by necessity. And this capital could pivot to be a decent production place with some of these hills, but actually I think that's almost certainly what we're going to want for Delhi here. I think we're going to consider this maybe more of a GP farm, which means it's going to get the national, what's that called? The national epic wonder. So this is a national wonder. It's not a world wonder. It's not unique per the world. Every nation can build their own copy of the national epic. They can only build 1, and I think you're limited to 3 national wonders per city. So if we build this in Delhi, then we're limited in what else we can build. But I think it goes here, and you can see it doubles our great person birth rate. So that's probably where we're going to focus. I don't think we've got another obvious location for a future great person farm. No. So yeah, I think Delhi is definitely going to focus on wonders that do that. I think Bombay is going to be a good production center, and so is VJ. I think VJ, I'll specifically designate M for military, because the idea is there's military national wonders and things like that. We'll probably focus in VJ. And then Bombay might become a more generic wonder building site, like with its higher production. Now, Wonders also go really good in your great person farm because every wonder generates great people points as well, but we might not be able to just build all of them in Delhi, so we'll see. Anyway, we're 40 minutes into this episode. I think it's a great place to put in a cut. I don't know if you can tell, but I am so happy to be playing Civ 4 again. I love this game. It's the first of the Civ games that I really dug my teeth into with the theory crafting. Because I played Civ 1 and 2 and 3, and they all had a lot of strengths to them, but I think it's because of the access to sort of the more modern day internet, because of the Civ Fanatics website. People, when Civ 4 came out, also shout out, was it Sula, who was like a one of the testers for Civ 4, but also came out with some great like text-based like forum post, like kind of what do they call them? After action reports, right? Sort of text-based let's plays. Really made my brain click in terms of what kind of thinking you could really do for a strategic game like Civ. And also, Civ 4 was my very first Let's Play on the channel. It wasn't my first videos. First thing I did were a couple of World of Warcraft guides. Then I did a bunch of videos for this little indie game that was in like super early access called League of Legends. I don't know if it ever went anywhere, but there wasn't a lot of hype for it at the time, and I wanted to talk strategy, so I made some videos for that. And then one day the internet was down, so I decided to do one of these Let's Play things for Civ 4, and then the rest is history. So I think it'll always have a very special place in my heart, but I think it's legitimately a very, very strong game. I think the looks also kind of hold up. Like, I know that there's some simplicity to certain aspects of it, but also there's less cartoonishness, and the graphics are very effective. Again, I can see where the hills are here. Civ 5 and Civ 6, I'm talking to you. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why can't we clearly see where the hills are? I mean, I know they want to do this like smooth transition from flat to elevated, but visibility is key. Whereas here, yeah, it's very clear where the hilly spots are. I know it's not 1 unit per tile. We're going to have some doom stacks, and I'm okay with that. I love playing EU4 and things like this where it's all doom stacks. There's a reason I don't play a lot of Total War and things like that. And, when we play a game that's got, when we play our Age of Wonders and whatnot that have like tactical turn-based combat, I tend to automate it. I like the higher level play. So I'm quite happy with the doom stacks. The other thing with the doom stacks is it means the AI is actually competent at war, as opposed to Civ 5 and 6, where it's trivially easy for you to win against massively overwhelming odds because the AI is just terrible at that kind of tactical movement on the world map. Don't get me wrong, Civ 5 and Civ 6 are absolute masterpieces as well, but Civ 4 was my first love. Folks, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.